revealing this plan then for the UK to come out of lockdown and how the fans can return to elite sporting events from May the 17th. This, of course, is great news for football supporters and none more than Leeds supporters who've yet to watch their side, of course, back in the Premier League. Now, Leeds Supporters Trust Vice Chairman Graham Hyde joins us now. Good evening to you, Graham. I'm guessing after 16 years of waiting for them to come back to the top flight, you're delighted that you might just get a glimpse of them on that final game of the season against West Brom.
Delighted, yes. I mean, obviously it comes down to a lottery now as to how many can get in and who can get in. We've over 23,000 season ticket holders and there'll only be 9,400 tickets available. So, you know, there's a little bit of maths to go on yet. But yeah, really, really great that we're going to be able to sort of wrap up the season, being able to, at least some of us, be back in the ground enjoying it in the Premier League. Well,
let's talk about that maths then, Graham, because as you mentioned, less than 10,000 fans will be allowed to attend that match. How do you hope the tickets will get allocated?
It's something we've already touched on, and we as a trust have discussed with kind of Angus Kinnear at the club anyway. And the way that it's likely to happen is be a simple ballot, that you will be able to apply for a ballot if you have a season ticket. Then it will be a lottery, and ultimately that's it. You know, if you're lucky, you're lucky. If you're not, you're not. But that will be the only fair way to do it. That those with season tickets in the first instance are given priority.
Look, dare I say it, you have literally, Leeds, lit up the Premier League, haven't you, this season? You know, from the very first game, that 4-3 against Liverpool. I mean, how hard has it been not to be able to watch them live?
I think my neighbours are a little bit fed up with the noise, more than anything. I think if you're in the stadium with a further 30-odd thousand, then, you know, that's not going to upset my neighbours. But it's been an absolute joy. It's just frustration that we've not been able to be part of it in the flesh. And I think about players like Rafinha, who are lighting up the division as well, and they've not yet had chance to witness the atmosphere at Elland Road during a live match with fans there. And I think that's the sort of thing that, you know, kind of players of that calibre, they live for those moments. So that's something for him to look forward to next season with us.
OK, so Graham, because they haven't ever witnessed it, what's it like at Elland Road? What's it going to be like come that game against West Brom at the end of the season, do you think?
Well, look, we're just shy of 10,000 people in there. It will be a lot of noise. As a full stadium, it's incredible. You ask sort of people like, you know, Gary Neville about the grounds that he felt were the most hostile, the most alive in terms of their stadium crowd, and Elland Road is one of those. You know, Leeds fans make a lot of noise no matter where they are, whether they're on the road travelling in their numbers or they're in the stadium on their own, sort of just over 9,500. We'll make a lot of noise anyway, but it's be an experience to behold when we're back there in full again.
And were there times throughout this season you think, God, if only we were there, we'd have really helped them out today?
I think, yeah, a couple of games, you know, certainly when we played Wolves at home earlier on in the season, I think that was one of those games where a crowd would have helped massively. Yeah, I think the Everton game at home was one of those where actually we've probably been on them a little bit earlier after the first defensive mistake that they scored from, and I think it could have been a different outcome.
Yeah.
But it's been...
Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Carry on.
So yeah, it's pretty much the same for everybody across the board, and you've got to feel for those who perhaps will be away at the last game of the season. Take Newcastle, for example, who've not had the opportunity to watch their team all this season and could potentially be in a relegation sort of, you know, nail biter with some home fans from Fulham in the ground.
Yeah, it's nice of you to think of others at this stage. Look, what about the Euros then? I'm guessing you're a big footy fan. How relevant could this be, the fact that we could have full stadia for the Euros?
Anything that enables the demonstration that this can be done safely moves a step towards us being able to get crowds back in fully. And whether that's for the Euros that we get to demonstrate that in the first instance, but all of that building then to the next season and making sure that when we start the Premier League again and the EFL start, you know, thinking particularly of those clubs who are desperate for the revenue from fans, you know, when we get back for next season, we want to be there with full crowds, everybody enjoying it, being safe, but everybody enjoying it. And if the Euros is a step towards that, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Look, we're just about to hear from your manager on his future, so I just want to get you finally on this, Graham. How much do you want Marcelo Bielsa to stay on beyond the end of this season?
I I think there's sort of traditional things about bears and where they sort of go to the toilet.
Not on this channel.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I think in that sense, what we're looking at definitely is something where the fans absolutely worship him. He's brought us a brand of football that we're proud of, that we enjoy, whether we win or lose, we enjoy watching. And I think in that sense, it's a wonderful sort of thing for him to be hopefully signing again for another year, looking at building a real structure that will deliver success for the club going forward for the next sort of generation, hopefully.
Brilliant stuff. Really been good to get your thoughts. Thanks for joining us, Graham.